Alright, I am back with the Destiny 2 video. I would have made this yesterday, but I am finding it somewhat difficult to keep on top of videos with a toddler and a newborn. So if you see less videos from me, that is why. I'm doing my best. Got to focus on writing mainly, which is my day job. But I had to make a video about the live stream yesterday for the Edge of Fate, which was a 45-minute-ish stream that was not really about the Edge of Fate. There was like a couple minutes of a Vidoc at the beginning that had some Edge of Fate stuff that went really, really fast. And then they had their usual people sitting on the couch talking to DMG, who stood in for host. I think everyone does a fine job. It's just I'm not loving, this format. I feel like this format's been a little played out. At least they had some game footage this time, but the main issue here was that this was all a discussion about systems-based stuff for the most part, and it is stuff that we've heard at least a couple times over at this point. I think we've had at least one or two blog posts or twabs about a lot of these systems, Armor 3.0, how they're changing stats, tier stuff, and then we had everybody visit Bungie, and then they released a bunch of videos about all the same stuff and how that works. And now we're doing an official Bungie stream where we're explaining all of that all over again. Like normally I would go point by point through a stream like this, but I don't really see the point in doing that because it's all stuff that's been kind of explained already. And, we can debate whether or not it's good. There's some, conflict about whether this new gear system is good where you get bonuses for specific pieces of gear and then you grind them and then it goes away, after 6 months or 3 months or whatever, and doesn't sound the best. And then specific things people are annoyed by, like the hunter dodge being pretty severely nerfed. I kind of wanted to just talk more generally about why this whole lead up to the Edge of Fate seems pretty weird. This isn't a preview of the expansion, and I feel like we've barely gotten a preview of the expansion. What did we get here? I wrote this down as fast as I could because it came very quickly. The Edge of Fate, Kepler, something about a dormant singularity, and they observe the collapse, but it didn't affect them. Their scientific culture called the Ionians, I think. There are the House of Exile Elixni, which never invaded Earth. They've been dicking around here. There is dark matter that converted into Elixni ether, which was toxic. That's all I got down there. This is about the Nine and stuff. They said it's a dungeon-like destination without really expanding on what that is. And then they once again went over all these very specific Kepler mechanics. They love this goddamn energy ball where you turn into Samus Aran and this electric ball and you bounce around. And then there's other stuff like I think it's like a teleportation thing and then a matter manipulator to solve puzzles. But I just feel like we really don't have a good sense of, at the very least, the scope of this thing. And we know it's going to be smaller, but what is this? What is Kepler? What is going on with this location? If it's a dungeon-like destination, is this just not a real zone? Is it kind of a series of, maybe not linearity, but different branching pathways? It sounds more like, I don't know, the Nether or something, but probably with less, more or less explorable space. It's just, this is the thing, it's very confusing. And they say it's, non-linear. It's, you can do things in whatever order. And then it seems like one of those things where they did mention this briefly, you go past the zone and you see oh, well, this is a matter manipulator thing. I can't do that. And then you get that power and you come back, and we haven't really seen how this works in practice. We have no real sense of what's coming in terms of activities. All we really hear about is this strange sounding campaign, and people are like, oh, they want to keep stuff under wraps. Every season, every episode, every expansion, we're hearing about the stuff you can do, and as far as I can tell, there's almost none of that. And what's been focused on, even in this stream, what were they doing in the stream? They were messing around in the new shooting gallery, and then they were playing was either the Coil. What's the one that's not the Coil? The other Savathûn one, Savathûn Spire, I think it is. And they were using the new weapons and stuff in there. So presumably the quote portal that arrives as sort of like the playlist thing is coming with that returning. But like, you know what I mean? Like this, it's not an Edge of Fate preview because all we're talking about are systems changes. These are systems changes that they're starting with the Edge of Fate, but the idea is that they're going to continue on through this whole era. I imagine this new armor stat thing is going to be the norm for years to come. And, you know, I certainly think they're going to tweak some things. I think they're going to tweak the new gear idea a bit as they, you know, it's this balance between making something useful and then also making sure people keep grinding. But I think people are thinking this is like a little too much grinding and not enough content. And the theory here that makes the most sense, unfortunately, is not that Bungie's just really hiding all these mysteries and like, you know, there's so much more to see, and rather there's just not that much to show. Like, I don't know why they're not explaining better what Kepler is. Like, you don't have to like spoil story stuff, but like I don't even understand what this zone is. It doesn't seem like a real patrol space. Supposedly it doesn't have any lost sectors. Like, if it's just a dungeon where, you know, you're backtracking and doing your little roguelike Samus things, not roguelike, but like your, you know, that kind of stuff, like that Metroidvania type format, it's different, and different may be cool, but I'm curious what scope this is and what it actually kind of looks like, and we just don't know that. And you can say that they're keeping this under wraps. They got to sell this thing, man. Like, this is supposed to be the thing to launch the game into a new era of like attracting new players. And like the one thing they keep citing is this portal where you're going to log in and it's like, here, do the portal. And like, that's going to be the main thing. But in terms of like selling this as an expansion, they're not doing that. Essentially, like, there's barely anything that's been touched on with this expansion. We know, like, they've sort of previewed the year, which is stuff you're getting later on. We know that, I think it's halfway through this, it's the Plague Lands are coming back, and there's some sort of Iron Lord, probably Siva-ish thing happening. We've been predicting Siva forever, but it feels like it's time to hit the emergency Siva button. But like what's going on? It just doesn't seem like this is remotely close to the normal promotion that we'd see for an expansion. And like, even knowing that this is smaller, even knowing that they are going to keep some stuff under wraps, like the raid, you know, we don't expect them to be previewing the raid in any meaningful capacity at this point. That's something they don't do. But I'm just very confused as to why essentially we've only seen like, here's a couple new enemy types, here's this guy in glasses, and this very, you know, paragraph long overview of this story. And it's, you know, we have to like really, really do glimpses. I think someone saw Meyer Sundaresh returning in one of the screenshots or something, but like we're literally combing through this thing to find stuff. And then we transfer into this, you know, 40 minutes of system changes we've already talked about. They spent like 10 minutes on the 3 exotics that I think there are probably 15 creator videos about that are much longer and probably much more interesting. The one big new thing we saw and learned here is the heavy crossbow slot as a new weapon type. Very cool. That sounds awesome. I like the idea of shooting a bolt, retrieving it. These bolts have different effects. Like, you can rip a bolt out of someone and it hurts them more. And like, that was like unequivocally the coolest thing that they showed here. But the rest of this was like stuff we've heard about already, or now we're like, you know, devolving in debates about this new gear stuff and percent bonuses and grinding and regrinding and like all of this stuff. And none of this feels like what the game needs going forward. And it's tough because like we always talk about, you know, Bungie leadership being in a bad influence, doing the wrong decisions, doing all this bad stuff. At a certain point, like, there are kind of developer level decisions that don't seem good or don't seem like they make a lot of sense. This new era just, it feels like they're changing a lot of stuff for the sake of changing stuff, but it's like these huge overhauls where I'm like, is this going to be significantly more fun than the game was, you know, a month before this launched? Is the idea of tier 5 weapons that much cooler than, you know, double enhanced perk shinies, which we have now? Is tier 5 armor that much more interesting than artifice armor if you add like another energy slot? They've shown these like set bonuses where like there's one about getting a speed boost, doing a bunch of things. We'll see what the other ones are, but that didn't seem terribly exciting. And then this idea that like, the artifact kind of does this, drive you to use new gear, but this seems kind of a different level. And like the thing is the DMG talked about like, okay, well the next stream is going to be about power level and progression. And again, that's like a systems thing. And I think they're doing like a balance one later or something. It doesn't seem like they're going to do anything focused on the content of the actual expansion. Like what is the farmable activity here? Is there a new activity? Are there any new strikes? I'm assuming there's no new Crucible maps. Lord knows there's no Gambit anything. What size is this zone? Is it a planet? Like what size is this campaign? Like we know it's smaller scale and it's not these big, campaign missions, but like, is it half as big? Is it a quarter as big? Like at least, if we have no perception of what's going to be here, it's kind of just like, hey, show up. Like you like Destiny before, so trust us that this new Destiny thing is good. Like it's not in the game is not in the place where you can't like actively sell something that people need to purchase. These system changes are great, but you're spending, almost all of your promotion time talking about free system updates, and different loot farms and whatever that are all free, which great, you're not going to pay for those anyway. But in terms of recapturing player interests, long lapse players, trying to bring in new players, I don't see how this accomplishes any of that. I saw a lot of people saying they're canceling their pre-order after that stream because it's just so underwhelming. And for some of us, we're going to play no matter what. I mean, I'm essentially a Destiny creator at this point, whatever you want to say. And there's certainly a number of enthusiastic creators and enthusiastic players who are like, yeah, man, sign me up. But I talk about like, people hate this and they're like, well, that's the vocal minority. And like people love, like, sorry, it's not. Like it's the majority of people are not really thrilled about any of this. It's happened with Marathon too, where it's like, oh, well, actually, I liked Marathon. Like that's great. There's always going to be people that like something and are excited about it, but like, read the room and read the comments under, DMG's how did this stream go thing and things like that, or read chat. Like, I don't think people are being like unnecessarily cruel about this. I don't think that they have put forth a good hook about really any of this. Like the expansion to the system changes sound good-ish. I think I'm on board with them. I don't know if the new gear thing is going to be as big of a deal as people are saying. I'm not opposed to changing systems. It's just, or the idea of like grinding more armor than we do now. It's just a matter of like, is this going to feel oppressive and annoying or rewarding? But it feels like a coin flip now. And the scale of this, Edge of Fate expansion compared to, what the second expansion is going to be like, is that one going to be more story focused since it's like this outlaw renegade Star Wars thing? Like, is that where we get a big campaign bigger campaign that's, more engaging than this? It just, everything seems so up in the air. Like these changes are not, these system changes are not apparently universally being accepted as this is definitely going to be better, which for an overhaul this big, you would want it to be like, oh yeah, this is a significant improvement. That is something we can test out when it gets here, even if a few things do not seem good up front. But if you're trying to sell people on this new year of content, and I just don't know what you're actually selling with the way this is being presented. And I very much believe that the unfortunate answer to this is that there is not a ton to show. There is not a ton being hidden under the curtain outside of like the raid. And like, yeah, there will be secrets. They don't have to explain all the secrets, but like, what is a big new activity here? Like, I just don't really get what's going on here in terms of what this zone is. I mean, we can figure out the storyline, but what's coming here is actual content that people are signing up to pay $80 a year for. The fact that they've lowered the price even is a little unexpected and does imply, a significant reduction in size. People are like, oh, well, have they confirmed it's going to be less content? Like, it's going to be less content. Like, again, I'm not being mean. It's just a fact. Like, Bungie's half the size it was a few years ago. They're working on Marathon. They're under an immense amount of pressure because Lord knows, I don't know if Marathon's going to pan out. So it's going to be just Destiny. So I've also, done some math and tried to predict the peak of what this is going to be based on the current record low player count. Yeah, it's not a shock. It's record low. I'm not saying that's like stunning. It's just a matter of fact as to how many people are going to actually show up for this expansion. What you do, what I did is like the average is like usually triple your player, concurrent players or whatever to be the peak for your next expansion. It's around that. And if you do that here, it's kind of like half of what the last expansions were, almost a third of something like the Final Shaper Lightfall. And I think it'll be less than that. I don't think people are nearly as excited about the Edge of Fate as they've been any other expansion, really. I am at baseline excited for new Era of Destiny. I'm excited for new stories. I'm fine moving past the Traveler and the Witness and Light and Darkness, all that. I do think that was sort of played to death at this point. I'm initially a little skeptical of a whole 9-based saga, which is apparently what this is. I thought we were going to go do things like go to the Elixni homeworld or the Vex homeworld or Torvadal or things, and we're on some random made-up planet at the edge of the solar system. I guess it's just not really what I thought it was going to be, and I wish they would explain what it is so I could be reassured that, oh, okay, well, this is good. It hasn't happened. So I don't know. I'm going in circles, I guess, but that's kind of where we are. And it just doesn't seem like we're going to get any significant information. This thing is under 2 weeks away now, or no, under 3 weeks away now. And there are not really indications that we're going to get more significant information about the actual meat of the expansion. I'm sure we'll get another trailer or something, but that seems like it's it. So yeah, let me know what you're thinking in the comments. Am I overreacting? Am I being Destiny alarmist as usual? But I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think I'm on the wrong side of the community with this one. But you can let me know what you think. So thank you for watching. Again, I will try to do as many videos as I can manage. The rest of my family's on a walk right now, so I squeeze these in when I can. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.